Marveling at the brilliant green of the Emerald Isle, it's hard to imagine a dark massacre happened here. But on the River Nore lies a medieval town with a whole lot of skeletons in its closet. If you make your way through these nearby woods and down a steep ravine, you'll find the foreboding entrance to Dunmore Cave. Within this 300-million-year-old limestone formation are passages snaking down into caverns with their fair share of dark tales to tell.
This is one of the darkest places in Ireland. Turn out the lights here, you wouldn't be able to see it that much in front of you. It is also a pretty dangerous place at times.
The danger he speaks of dates back to a legend from the 10th century, when large parts of Ireland were under a Viking stranglehold. With power bases in the towns of Dublin, Waterford, and Limerick, the Vikings are a formidable force. But the one thing they're not is united. The separate settlements are always at each other's throats to establish dominance. According to the story, in the year 928, Dublin's Norsemen set off on a roughly 90-mile march to attack their rivals in Waterford. And being Vikings, they engage in the usual amount of pillaging along the way. As they muscle their way through one town, they hear that 1,000 people, mostly women and children, have fled from their path and are seeking refuge in nearby Dunmore Cave. The Vikings set out to capture them, to sell as slaves for profit. But when the Vikings reach the cave, the Irish villagers stay hidden and refuse to come out.
So I'm trying to imagine myself here when it's pitch black, which is what it would have been for the people who are hiding here 1,000 years ago, when there are people outside who are trying to kill you. And you're here with your family. It must have been absolutely petrifying.
Getting hot under the collar, the Vikings light fires at the mouth of the cave, trying to smoke out anyone hiding inside. But they've underestimated the villagers' resolve. As Dunmore Cave fills with smoke, no one emerges. The trapped masses would rather die free than live as slaves. Legend says there were no survivors. The story is tragic, but is it true? Well, centuries later, local residents were asking the same question. They suspected the answer might lie in Dunmore Cave itself. But during a time of intense superstition and fear, venturing into a dark, creepy cave was a less than attractive proposition. Still, curiosity is a powerful thing, especially if you're 14 years old. In 1699, local college student George Berkeley is well versed in the harrowing history behind Dunmore Cave. But that's not going to stop him from going in for a first-hand look. George works his way deep inside, where he makes a bone-chilling discovery. The cave is littered with human remains. Ireland's Dunmore Cave is believed to be the site of a 10th century Viking massacre. 770 years later, that theory gets some serious validation when a curious college student finds human bones here. But archaeologists don't focus their attention on Dunmore Cave until 1973. They unearth 44 more bodies, mostly women and children. It's starting to look like the tragic tale might very well be true. But just when the world thinks Dunmore Cave is done yielding its secrets, an accidental discovery sheds surprising new light on its dark history. Only this time, it isn't just bones. In 1999, while Dunmore Cave is managed by the Irish government, a local guide makes a startling find. It turns out to be a collection of artifacts, including silver coins, buttons, and a silk garment. Experts date the items to the year 970, not long after the fabled deadly standoff between the Irish and the Vikings.
What he produces is a most remarkable hoard of Viking items from that period. The cloth was particularly amazing because they saw that it had purple dye, and this purple dye is unique to North Africa. It shows how extensive the Viking network is. Somehow it had made its way here to Dunmore.
Some historians speculate that perhaps a well-traveled Viking warrior hid the goods in the cave, but was unable to return to reclaim them. But the bigger question is, with the artifacts placing the Vikings at Dunmore Cave shortly after the legendary massacre, could they have been returning to the scene of a crime? As with the bones previously unearthed, this may not unequivocally prove the incident happened, but it does add another persuasive piece to the puzzle.
This really is the darkest place in Ireland. It's beautiful, but it's dark stories here.
So if you do venture down into Dunmore Cave, bring your flashlight and tread carefully.